Welcome back, everybody, and all of y'all to the Lost Creatives Podcast. I am your host, Ijlal Abdullah Muhammad, and as always, we about to get into some things. I have another special guest, as always. Was very interested in speaking with this brother. I loved the work I saw on Instagram from him, and this I can't wait for him to explain. How he takes it in and I mean well his first of all obviously his creative journey, but and how he's able to see the things that he sees and chooses to convey it the way he chooses to convey it. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce the good brother here. And also, as everybody knows, I never come up with the titles of the chapters that my guests provide. They always provide it because I want it to be, as creatively authentic as possible. Likewise, I never come up with the introductions. I always want the creatives to decide how they want to be introduced, and they provide me that information. And a lot of them are pretty detailed, and then some of them are short, sweet, and to the point. And this brother, his introduction is short, sweet, and to the point, and that's what's up. So let me go ahead. Let me go ahead and introduce him. He is a Darlington, South Carolina native. Excuse me, a visionary without limits. Ladies and gentlemen, black and brown creatives everywhere, please put your hands together for Jay Sims, aka JSLAY. Art is in the building
Go.
remotely. What's going on,
Yeah.
good brother?
Yeah. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's a Saturday. Spring is here. You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
finally in the 68 to 70 degree weather. The nights are now at 55 rather than
Yeah.
25. So, I'm
For
good, man. How
sure.
about yourself?
Hey, same over here. I'm residing in California right now, so we still getting a little bit of cold weather. In my part, we by the water, so
Okay.
it's all good.
That's all good, man. That's what's up. That's what's up. So now, uh, was California a recent move, or you been there for a minute? I know you.
I've been for a minute. It's
Okay.
yeah, it's been about I think eight years now.
Yeah, yeah, it's okay. All right.
Mhm.
And where exactly? I know you say you by the water, but like around, what
San Diego.
San Diego. Okay. All right. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife's from California. She's from L.A. though. She's not from Sandy, but still in all.
What's
Now,
up?
what's how you said it's still a little bit of cold. What's a little bit of cold for San Diego?
Oh, we're looking at like the 60s. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's so
Oh
cool.
man.
So
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah. I bet. When I was me and my wife was courting, we started speaking during the wintertime, and she was like, "Oh, it's so cold over here." I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh man," it was like 55 today. I'm like,
That's ugh,
I'm like, it's
miserable.
25 right now. You telling me it's 55? That's so cold.
Hey man.
That's 55 is maybe sweater weather.
Mm,
Maybe it's in New York.
yeah, I feel it.
Excuse me. That's what's up though. But yeah, good brother. I'm glad I was able to connect with you. I'm so happy you were
Yeah.
able to accept. I know we had to rearrange some schedules. And that tends to happen. And that's all good. But we're here finally.
Mhm.
And I'm really interested in hearing your creative journey. From start to present. And I definitely want to make sure we take out some time to talk about some of your work and my personal favorites that I've seen. So but let's go ahead and do it. You did provide me your three chapters, and we're just going to roll right into chapter one, which you titled Genesis. So go ahead, good
Mhm.
brother.
Yeah, I titled it Genesis because, I was brought up in, a religious background, so, we know about the Bible and things like that. And Genesis was the first book. And I looked at Genesis as like my beginning. So it all started with the art, of course, with me as a kid, just
Mm-hmm.
drawing and in school. I used to be like I was like the biggest like doodler, I guess, if that's the word you're looking for. Yeah, and I used
Gotcha.
to just just draw all the time. And my favorite class was art. Shout out to my art teacher. She just passed away like a year ago.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and she really inspired me to really pick up that pencil to paper and really start doing
Mm,
some stuff. Yeah. And as as life go, you look at the your environment, being in Darlington, South Carolina, you know, back then it was like real slow. And
mm,
in the environment that I was living in, it kind of it changed me, it shaped me for for the good. And learning how to take those negative experiences and making something positive with art was like my outlet,
mm.
because we really didn't have anything, to look forward to, or look, any good role models at that time for me. And
Gotcha.
looking at TV, watching TV and doing art, putting those things together kind of like shaped my imagination and kind of led me to this point where we are now. So,
Ah, so
um,
okay. I think you go ahead. You can finish.
oh, no, yeah, I was just, just the beginning chapter of it. It's just so much stuff that happens in between. I kind of want to do a movie. It's I've been trying to, with my art, I've been trying to like break it down and explain, things, because as an artist or creative, we all different, and we all have our own little sauce to bring to the table. And
Yeah.
I try to incorporate that with my art as well. So that's really about it for the beginning.
Okay. All right. So something that stood out to me when you would mention that, right? Yeah, your teacher who passed. What grade was this?
I was let's see, I was 10 years old, so fifth grade.
Fifth grade. Fifth
Yeah.
grade, and you only had her for fifth grade.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's interesting that you only had her for fifth grade, but yet you stayed in contact with her enough to know that she
Yeah.
obviously passed.
Yeah, I
So
did.
what was that like? I mean, what type of relationship did you carry on with her?
Um, it wasn't like really personal to that extent, but it was just more
Okay.
so of a like, I see you, you see me, I see you on Facebook, or from time to
Okay.
time, I have family that still stay there, and they say, yo, I saw Miss Known, and I hit her up on Facebook or something.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she was a good woman. She actually introduced me to the back in the day, those videos. What was name, Bob Ross? And
Yeah.
yeah, and I was just so amazed on how he could take like the stroke and then turn it into a mountain or trees and stuff, and he was just so calm and cool about it. And I
Yeah.
said, he had an afro.
Yes, he did.
What I'm saying? So just to
Jewish
show
dude with
how,
an afro. Yep.
you see what I'm saying? Just to see
Hmm.
how, how locked in he was when it came to the art. And, I just like, you know what? I want to do some stuff like this. I want to teach. I want to give that feeling that I have when I put that pencil to paper, or crayons or markers or whatever the case may be. So,
Mm.
yeah.
Mm. So what was there anything in particular that stood out to you back then that plays a role in where you are today? You don't have to get into where you are today because we'll get to that, but I'm just saying, looking back, was there anything in particular, or was there something in particular that the teacher introduced you to that just always stayed on your mind and it plays an influence in, what I'm saying, how you create today?
Um, it was the level of confidence she told me about. She was telling me how, you really had to be confident in the stuff that you do and not
Mm,
worry about the outside noise. She
okay.
was always saying like, people are always gonna have the opinion about what you do, but it's up to you as a creative or as an artist to push through that and just put it out because you never know who you're helping when you put your stuff out.
Right. Right. And now, do you do you think about that when you are like when you're creating today? Do you um when you're when you're when you are creating, are you is the focus like where does the focus go? Does it change or does it remain the same? As like, okay, I just this is just coming out of my head, but
Uh-huh.
this or is it just or is it also this piece that I'm working on here? I want this piece to make someone feel really good. I want this piece to make someone feel like if they're down, they can triumph. And is any of that going on?
It plays a part, but not as big as you may think. For me, it's more so of how I'm feeling that day, or
Okay.
the current events that's around. What I'm saying, like if I see some things that I don't, that I look at us as creatives. There are different levels to it. You got the
Yeah.
audios, you got the visual. I'm a visual artist, but I
Hmm.
like to incorporate all the other tools in my stuff like music. I like to find like I feel like a good score can change the mood of anything that you put out. And I like to
Yeah.
incorporate music too. So yeah, and it's just really about just like how I'm feeling, what's like I said, when I do art, it's more so to help someone, but also help myself. And it's like a more of a like a self soothing type atmosphere.
Okay. Okay. I mean, that's what's up. That's what's up. So you have that. You were blessed enough to be provided that. Do you can you think of also in the early years um, any other influences? Any other influence as far as maybe there was. I know you said Bob Ross, right?
Mhm.
Any other influences at home?
Come
Any
on.
other family members or whatever situations
Um,
that particularly happened that stayed with you?
well, not to get too deep, but I lost my mother when I was 3 weeks old.
Oh
And
wow, sorry
the
to hear
law
that.
the yeah, so I was born in New York. I was born in Brooklyn.
Hmm.
And my mother and my father were there, and my mother passed, and then we migrated down to the South to South Carolina. So all I know is South Carolina. I don't know anything about New York. I just know I took
Hmm.
my first breath there. And my dad was a play director, and he was an actor, he was a producer. He was really kind of
Okay.
big into the Hollywood scene, but you know, I didn't know anything about that until I got older. And it was
Hmm.
crazy. It was crazy for him when I first like really um taking the art serious. He was like, I didn't know you had it in you. And I was like,
Hmm.
what you mean? I was like, what you mean about that? And he was just like, you're doing all the stuff that I was doing, but you're doing it at a faster rate and it's scaling faster than I was doing it. And then he started, telling me about it and teaching me about, you know, um, like different camera angles and different positions on sets and things like that. And it kind of like really inspired me to keep going with that, you know. And I think my grandfather was he played a part in there too because he was a jazz musician at night. He used to play like in nightclubs. He would do
Hmm.
like, he was a pianist. He used to play the piano and then he was a bricklayer by day. And
Okay.
for him to be able to do all those things and have so many hats, it just was natural for me to take so many hats on and still produce my art too. So it's just I think it's in my blood. You know.
That's what it sounds like to me. It definitely sounds like that to me. And I mean that's
Yeah.
what's up, and that's what I was trying to get at. So you and the reason why I was trying to dig a little bit more is because I realized that, speaking with so many different creatives,
Mhm.
Rarely, and I mean rarely, is there a situation where there's just one influence. And then what I've often found out is there is a primary influence, right?
Mhm.
But then through thinking about it more and more, I usually find out, oh, well, there was this person, there was this situation. Oh, there was my cousin, my brother, my mother, my father, and they all played these integral parts. And our subconscious is deep,
Deep.
right? And
Yeah.
and we never really know when it's actually stepping into our conscious state,
Mhm.
because we're too focused on what's consciously happening. You know what I mean? But
Right.
it's always there. It's always ever present, and especially for creatives, it's consistently coming in and out. Sometimes we don't even connect with it. Sometimes we may connect with it later on. I remember I did a piece. It was a drawing, and I thought it was just like something I just was feeling one time, and then
Yeah.
my sister had reminded me of something that we used to experience when we went to Great Adventure as kids. And then I instantly remembered that's why I drew that, you
Mhm.
know? But when I was drawing it at the time, I didn't know where it was coming from.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just, uh, it's pretty dope, as it relates to a creative mind and how when those neurons, right, start,
I
start
just,
popping off.
I really think, not to cut you off, I really think
Go ahead.
we all have our own thing that we put in this world when you find out your purpose. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't, I think we all were made to create, but it just
Yeah.
depends on what are you creating and what's the meaning behind it. Once you put that focus with the focus with the meaning, that's
Mm-hmm.
when everything started to open up for you.
I like that. I like that. Yeah. You know what? That's an excellent transition into chapter 2, which you titled Dreamville. So let's go
Yeah.
ahead. Let's go into that.
All right. So after my younger years, I decided, join the military, and I joined the
Okay.
Navy. And, I was doing my best to try to find a way out from where I was.
Okay.
It didn't matter what I was doing. I didn't want to do the school route. I didn't want to go to Job Corps or anything like that. So, I'm going to the
Hmm.
military, and around that time, I want to date myself, but, 9/11, all these things was happening,
Yeah.
and you decided you're like, you know what, let me do something for my country. Let me do something that's meaningful. I done played around enough. Let me try to step into the real world, but
Hmm.
get some type of structure behind it. And I think that it really helped me out to like really um grow up, and
Mm.
also like take all the things that I was really keeping inside and finding a way to bring it out, because in the military it's like a big crock pot full of cultures and different people, and then
Right.
you start picking up things from other people, and then you find out that we're not so different.
We're not so
you know
different.
we
Yeah.
yeah, we all are. We all have our own little way of getting there, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I think with the military, but I never stopped. It just kept bugging me about art. It kept bugging me about trying to make it a living, or also just find a way to just create. Because I feel like with me, if I can't create anything, I don't know what I'm here for at this point. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying?
Mm.
It becomes, it's not like an obsession, but I feel like it's just something that's in me that it has to come out some way. And I'm
Yeah.
and I feel like somebody out there is gonna like it. Because as a creative, not to get off the subject, but I feel like if you're not, if you're, if I made you feel a way, if I made you happy, sad, mad, I made you
Hmm.
feel something. You know what I'm saying? And as a
Yeah.
creative, if you're doing art, if your art doesn't make somebody feel anything, then it's not, you're not doing it right. You know? art is supposed to do something for you. And if you're looking at something and you don't feel anything in your body, then you might as well try to do something else, in my
Mhm.
opinion. Yeah. But
All right. Yeah, I like that.
yeah, but also like so when I was done with my military tenure, I decided to pursue what I wanted to do, and that was music. I mean film, you know what I'm saying? Because
Mm-hmm.
when I was in, like I said, I kept the passion kept it was in me so much. I was doing side stuff. I started to pick up a camera and I was doing photography, and then the photography turned into me doing videos, and then
Mm.
the video started me getting into graphic design, and then all the stuff that I used to do, drawing and everything, everything just started to click. All the little stories I used to have in my head, everything,
Mm.
even the past experience with the military, my past experience with life, everything just started to get to that boiling point where I just like, you know what, I got to put this out, and
Mm.
I just kept going at it. And I went to LA Film School, and when I went to LA Film School, I learned a lot more about what my father was doing in depth.
Okay.
And then I also realized that I didn't want to do that.
Okay. Okay.
Like, you know, I said, I don't want to do the camera stuff anymore, man. I don't want to
Mm.
pick up these big old rigs and holding these props and hitting, making time and show time early in the morning just to record shaping lights. I didn't want to do any of that. I,
Mm.
I fell in love in film school with post production, and I learned how to edit for real. And that's when I learned that being an editor had a little bit more weight than just shooting. Because
Okay.
once you shoot a film, that's it. You know, you go home, you get paid, whatever. But the real magic, in my
Mm.
opinion, you know what I'm saying, is the post and editing. So that's when I started dealing with graphic design.
Hmm. So,
Yeah.
uh, was it the you said the real magic is in editing, and I think I understand exactly why that makes sense. But if you don't mind, is it the fact that you're you're creating you're yes, you have the video and you have the I mean you have the film or you have the pictures or whatever. All right,
Mhm.
and that job was done. But is it do you say it's the real magic because now you're putting these things in you're bringing these things to life in such a way where now it's actually telling a story
Yeah.
or you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the words but I would like for you to explain that.
Yes, I mean that's basically it to me. You know, like I said, no offense to, people that love to, maybe I could start over and say that I have
I think
nothing against I don't have no I have nothing against the people that shoot the films and the
yeah, yeah,
lighting and the gaffers, all that stuff. But when it comes to like the to me personally, I feel
yeah, this
like
is your personal opinion, right?
yeah, yeah, the editing part was the magic because one, you're closer to the director. You're learning more of what they like, and
Mm-hmm.
you seeing how they want it to be, and through their eyes, and you learning so much from the director. And
Mm.
then and then you're also taking all these different clips because you can shoot they'll shoot the end scene first and they'll shoot the first scene last, you know what I'm saying? But
Mm.
you're piecing all these things together, you know what I'm saying? You taking all those clips, you're going through all the film. You know, it's tedious to some people, but to me, once you put the things together, it's just magical. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And just to see how you know editors put movies together. Shout out to Ryan Coogler. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Ryan.
Oh, boy, let's go. And the things that he's doing and
Yeah.
the heights that he's reaching.
Yeah.
It's so inspiring to me. And like I tell a lot of people, it takes a lot for me to be inspired. but
Mm,
the aura and the energy that he puts into his films, you know what I'm saying? It takes time. You know,
yeah.
I used to I had so many directors and filmmakers that I used to this day I still, look up to. I like Hype Williams.
Yeah.
He was big. I used to love that belly was one of the things that made me look at art from a different aspect.
Mm,
John Singleton,
yeah. Yeah.
all what I'm
Yeah.
saying, Spike Lee, you
Right.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just, even like even music directors like let me sure I can get it right.
Like
X, X,
little X, little
X,
X,
little
little X,
little
right?
X,
Yeah.
yeah, and all that. And it's just magical, man, just to see how people can take a thought and then you can put it out there and it comes out like that. It's just, it's nothing like it to me.
I agree with you 100%. And uh, rest in peace, John Singleton.
Man,
Um, my favorite director, was Spike Lee. You know what I mean? Because I grew up when he was making it happen.
love Spike,
And what
man.
that good brother did for black directors,
Come
for
on.
black actors, for film,
Yes.
period.
Open the
Is
doors.
just, yeah, man. And I'm happy to see, and this is not to take anything away from him. Obviously, I'm so happy to see Ryan getting, doing so well, and getting so much attention, because um, he deserves it,
Mhm.
you know. But in my opinion, there would be no Ryan without a Spike.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I have you have you seen the Ryan's new movie Sinners?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
100%.
okay, yeah. So spoiler alert for those who are watching it.
Cover your ears. Don't do it.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
do
yeah, yeah. The one of the greatest scenes in the movie I thought was when um forgot wow, I forgot his name. Anyway, the young kid was playing the guitar, and then
Right.
you saw all those different
Man,
eras of music that came in.
come on.
When prior to that,
Hmm.
prior to that, my favorite scene in a movie where it switched to like a musical number without it being a musical was School Days.
School days.
When they did the Good About Hair scene,
Oh man.
I loved it. I thought it was so dope that this movie was just, the movie's going, and then he just decided to do that.
It switched
You know,
gears
yeah, and then he made it almost look like a stage, a play stage setting. You know,
seamlessly. Yeah.
yeah, seamlessly with the choreography,
Yes.
the
Hmm.
the color, the
Color.
color. Oh man,
Crazy.
the shots,
Crazy.
the angles.
Crazy.
As a little kid, I was peeping this.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, and I never seen anybody do it better than that.
Hmm.
Um, uh, until Sinners.
Right.
So it was really cool for me
Hmm.
because, like I said, I never seen that again in a film, in my opinion, until I saw Sinners, and when I saw that, I said, he did it. He
It took
did
it
it.
to it took it to the whole new level,
He really
and
did.
that's kind of like how I look at my art too, finding a way to um bridge the gap when it
Yeah.
comes to our culture, putting past, present, and future together. And
Mm,
I feel like that's the formula of how we can really go further in with the future of our culture, our people, of
yeah.
art, period. You know what I'm saying? You can't know where you're going if not know where you come from, too.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So I'm a big advocate for that.
Yeah. And at the same time, shout out. I can't remember the brother's name. He directed Juice. Can't remember his name right now.
Oh, that's crazy.
I
That's
can't.
off the
You know what
top.
I'm talking about.
Yeah, I like, and also the Hughes brothers too.
Oh yeah,
For what?
big time, big time.
Yeah.
But I forgot the brother's name who directed Juice, but he worked big time with Spike Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Spike Lee accredited him a whole lot when it came to a few of his early movies, School Days, you know, and he said that they both came from a household where they knew who they were in this world, you know, and knew what they were trying to achieve. And he said he gave them a lot of credit on doing that film. Also, Malcolm X.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of editing and the real, like you said, the real magic happens with that. You
Mm-hmm.
know, also showing just how, also showing the actual, you know, filming, how deep it can get. In the movie Malcolm X, there was the opening scene where um, uh, you see like the train going by and the camera moves down to the barbershop.
Mm-hmm.
He said it took them all day to capture that one scene. I was amazed with that. I'm like, I never thought that it really all day just to, you know, you watching it, and that scene took all of what 5 seconds, if that.
5 seconds. Yeah.
But they said all day to get that. So many things working, you know, behind the scenes that people just would never know about, you
Yep.
know. And that's where I could definitely understand what you're saying, where, you know, when you get into that editing, it's like you have no idea just how much things are centered around that, how much work goes into a 5 second shot.
Yes, man. Trust
You
me.
know, they could have taken the largest amount of your production when shooting. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's
Yeah.
truly amazing. But I can dig it, man, and I definitely after you explaining this, definitely reconfirms the fact that, you know, this clearly was in your blood, you know,
Yeah.
you know, so yeah, you definitely, you got it honest, good brother. But you know, so let's definitely, you know, go ahead and transition into, you know, chapter 3, which you titled Present.
Present day. So after film school, uh I was really focused on going to like a post house and working with these different movies out in Hollywood and things like that. And the craziest thing happened. It was the pandemic.
Mm.
And this shit shut down
It hit
all the
it hit
studios.
everybody, affected
This shit,
everybody, man.
it shut. It was like, you know, I'm one of those people that I'm starting not to really believe in any coincidences. You know, I
Hmm.
feel like everything happens in a divine order and it happens how it's supposed to happen. It's just you don't know how it happens. And
Hmm.
that derailed me. It crushed me because you know you put everything into this dream.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm gonna do this. This is how it's gonna play out, you know. And then at this time, you know, I had a baby on the way, another baby
Oh,
on the
okay.
way, and I'm just like, you know, I said, this is what I'm gonna do. Is how I'm gonna, you know, for my family and all this, and it changes,
Mm.
and so I had to put it on the back burner. I had to get, you know, make ends meet. So, you know,
Hmm.
you go back to the rat race, you start working
Yep.
again. But I still had my dream and I
Yeah.
still had my focus on creating. So
Yeah.
I kept editing. I was doing cover art for artists. I was doing music videos. I was doing photography still. And then something popped up where I found AI.
Mm.
And it was new at the time. And I'm looking at it like when I first started messing with it, I was like, you know what, this is about to kill me. I was
Yeah.
like, this is, you know, I said this is about to end me as a graphic designer at
Hmm.
anything. I said, there's no way. And I remember I was venting to one of my close friends that I served with, and her name was Ebank. And I remember her telling me, I said, Banks, this is about to kill me. This AI, I can't compete with it. You know, what's the point of them even dealing with me now? Because AI it's so efficient and so fast. She like, I remember telling me, she like, just use it as a tool, fool.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like it can't do anything that you can't give it a command to do at the time. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like anything that any person that's a craftsman, they have tools, and you know you got to learn to use it in your favor. So
Right.
I started dealing with it, and I started learning how to do it. I started doing research on it and everything, and I started getting better at it. You know, and I started selling canvases. You
Mm.
know, being able to create stuff for families, memorial pieces, all types of stuff. But I still had the core Photoshop skills that I learned when I was in
Mm-hmm.
film school and when I was editing and things on the side, and I just kept elevating me. And I think it was February of 2024. I put out a series called Give Them Flowers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started doing it was like Black History Month. You know, of course, you know, I'm a big on Black history, on
Mm-hmm.
anything, you know, black. Um, and I started doing, you know, iconic figures that, you know, everybody know.
Yeah.
And it blew up. You know, it blew up overnight and it was crazy. I was getting so much traction and so much motion for
Mm.
the stuff I was doing. You know, it was kind of like overwhelming at one point because you know you become like this little you start off in this little hut, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden everybody and mama looking at you, and you
Mm-hmm.
just like, oh, you know, and it just
Yeah.
start and it put so much pressure on me
Mm.
to you know to kind of like appease to the audience and things like that to keep it going, that I start losing my way and all the teachings that I had as a kid
Mm.
of being confident in what you're doing, or don't worry about what people are saying, or just
Mm-hmm.
do it. You know what I'm saying? You start losing yourself. So that's why I want to tell any creative out there, you know, whatever you're doing, just be confident in what you're doing and just keep going because regardless of what they're gonna talk anyway. You know, either you do good or bad, people still gonna say what they want to say about you. So you gotta live. Because in 100 years, nobody's gonna care anyway. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
so and then I think fast forward 6 months from that, August, if my math is correct. Um, I learned how to put motion to those images that I did, the stills.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it.
It
You
was a
know,
wrap at that point.
it was a
Yeah.
wrap, you know, and then all this, you know, I start getting jobs here and there. You know, a lot of celebrities were following, it would look, you know, and I'm saying all that to say, not to brag about it,
Nah,
but
man. Go ahead.
I remain humble through it all, you know, because
Mm-hmm.
I know I know my journey, and the closer ones to me know what it took to get me where I am today. And regardless of how I got there, you know, I'm truly thankful for the journey. And it's not over. I feel it's never over until it's over.
Until
You
you
know what I'm
did.
saying?
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying this ride. You know, I'm enjoying the things that I'm doing, and every day I'm pushing forward to, you know, continue to build my purpose because you know I'm just getting started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many things that came across my mind while you were explaining that. But for sure, there's nothing. That's why I say, tell your creative journey from beginning, you know, middle to present, right? Because it's still going on. One minute you're doing this, and the next minute you're doing that, and like I'm living proof. I have expressed this before on the show where I'm an author
Love it.
as of 3 years ago. I've been a creative my
Mhm.
whole life, and I
Right.
didn't find out until 3 years ago that 4 years ago, yeah, 4 years ago, I didn't find out until 4 years ago the passion and the skill I had in writing.
Mm.
You know, it was just something that, and then, but when I did it, I mean, you know what it is when you run into a medium and you just like, this is it. This
Yeah.
is it. You know,
Yeah.
nothing ever made me feel as great while creating or whatever as
Mm.
writing did. And so yeah, man, that's why it's like, you know, and that's what happened when I hit 40. You know, who knows what's gonna happen when I hit 50? You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
you never know. You
You
never know.
know, and I'm happy about it. You know, I'm like, okay, let's see what goes on.
But
But I'm glad that you mentioned some of your work, because I just wanted to express what I thought was, you know, really dope. I was introduced to your work from the one that was titled "A Few Seconds of Peace Is All We Need." That was the one that starts off with Marvin Gaye, and then it goes
yeah.
to Maya Angelou, and then Jimi Hendrix. That's how I got introduced, you
Mm.
know. And I was just like, oh man, and like you said, you know, if your work doesn't evoke an emotion or something, then it's almost like, why are you doing it, right?
Yeah.
And when I saw that, it was just like, oh brother, this is I love
Shout out,
this,
shout
man.
out
I
to
love this, you know.
Shout out to Snow Allegra, man. I clipped her song for that. She did a
Oh,
remake
okay.
she did a remake to that classic song. But
Yeah.
I just like the vibe of it. I'm a big vibe chick person,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know.
yeah. Big time, man. And I'm
Yeah.
gonna get into that, but I wanted to address the other one. My ultimate favorite was the one you titled "Sakura's Promise."
You like that?
I like that.
Yeah,
I
that's my joint.
loved it because I was like, you know, um, uh, I just first of all, you can tell that now speaking with you, hearing your journey, I'm like, oh, okay, this brother has got a background in film, you know, because this it didn't move and look like someone who was just getting really good with AI.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? It was like, nah, man, the filter and everything. Like I just how you had everything set up, the story that it told. I just loved it, man. And I was always a huge fan of, you know, of the 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 Black Samurai,
Samurai, yeah.
you know, and I just oh, it was like this was a full featured film in a few seconds for me.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought it was beautiful, everything about it, you know.
Shout out to Hype
This
too. I use a Hype so intro for that.
okay, yeah, and
Yeah.
there's out of you know, and that's the great thing about art, right? I don't know where this is on your list, but this one I like the most. It just
Mhm.
really stood out to me. Um, you have a you have a range. Um, like I kind of have I notice a lot of AI artists or storytellers, they have a theme, right? There's like kind of like a consistent theme that they work with, you know. Like shout out to Kimberly Alfred. I had the pleasure of interviewing her.
Mm.
Playground Pastime.
I love
She's an
her.
AI. Oh, you know what I'm talking about.
It's my homie.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. But you see, she has a consistent theme, right?
Futuristic.
Um, yeah, that Afro futuristic type thing going on. Um, you have. I don't want to insult you by saying you don't have a theme, but you know, it's
It's
like I
everywhere.
said, it's everywhere almost carries like a messy connotation. I don't want to
Oh,
say
okay.
everywhere.
Okay.
I'm just saying I say range. Your
I'm multi
range is
I'm multi I feel like I'm multi-layered, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
I like
that's
yeah.
I just like that. Like, so is it really? And then I can see sometimes when what I'm viewing, sometimes you get into a little okay, this is the thing I'm doing right now. Like when you had like a back to back collection almost of like the
Yeah.
90s women, you
Yeah.
know, and yeah, yeah. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
you feeling that right now because he did a
Yeah.
few of them like that, and
Yeah.
then you back into something else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just like, how does that work for you? Is it just like, hey, whatever I'm feeling, or
Yeah, it's like I said, it's like depending on what's really kind of like trending right now that I'm like I like, or sometimes I just like to do a call back to the nostalgia times because I'm thinking like we kind of like maybe close in age, but
mm,
it's like in those time frames we didn't have all that stuff that they have now.
yeah,
The streaming things, and you couldn't see your favorite person every day. Sometimes you had to wait a whole week
oh
to
yeah,
watch somebody. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So to give us that much content consistently now, and then also, pay homage to the times that we lived in and make you feel good. That made you
yeah.
feel good. That's the stuff I like to tap into. I don't care, and when it comes to that, I don't care about color or anything. I don't care about how I get there. I'm gonna get there though.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, that's what's up,
And
man.
yeah,
And
so
it's just, it's really great, man. And I I actually started to get into AI.
do it.
Yeah, I took, as met, Kimberly. I took her workshop, um, and what it did for me was it allowed me to put visual art to the many short stories that I wrote.
Right,
So I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. Like I can like whenever I'm writing, I always see it as, let's say, a movie. That's how I write.
right. Hmm.
So I'm always thinking about, man, how this would look, on screen. And then when I started to discover AI, I was like, yo, my short stories, this would be great
Crazy,
for. Because I always wanted to see
amazing.
them in motion.
Hmm.
Um, and in doing so, I start off with I started off with little things, and I was so inspired by Kimberly. I was like, okay, I didn't force it. I didn't say I gotta theme it somehow. I didn't. That's not how I did it.
Yeah.
I knew I had to let it just come, you know. But then when I did that, I started to see that my my really short films they did have a certain style, let's say,
Hmm.
you know. And later on, not while we're going, because this is about you, but afterwards, I want to holler at you about that, get your take. But yeah, I thought it was just such a great way. And as a matter of fact, uh, I'm forgetting the good sister's name, but I'm forgetting the good sister's name. I'm so sorry about that. Ink Beautiful is her tag. Um, she's an AI artist, and she told me that the biggest flack that she gets, hardest criticism, is people getting on her like, oh, well, that's not real art, that's not
Hmm.
real art, so on and so forth. I'm
Yeah.
sure you've heard that. That's the big thing now, right? When it comes to AI
Hmm.
and traditional artists,
Hmm.
it's this is not real art, or this is going to take money out of my pocket, and da 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 da.
Yeah.
And one of the things that she said, and this is what I would love for people to truly understand, is she said she couldn't draw to save her life. Couldn't draw to save
Hmm.
her life. She tried so many times, and she just couldn't do it. Years after years after years, tried painting and just couldn't do it. But she always wanted to.
Hmm.
So what was that? What is that being explained? That is a creative saying, damn, I wish I had a medium that worked for me. Because I
Right.
got all this creative concept and this art to give, but I physically don't have the right medium to do it. And then when AI came along, that
Hmm.
was it. That answered it for her. And I
Yep.
love her work. And
Hmm.
I just, when people shoot it down, it's just like, look, you got to remember that it starts any I don't care what you're doing. If you're a dancer, if you're a singer, if you're a painter, you know what I mean? If you're a welder, you're a sculptor,
Hmm.
whatever it
Hmm.
is,
Hmm.
it starts with the concept.
Just come on. Yeah.
That's where it starts.
Yeah.
And then you find whatever thing that you really like, that you
Hmm.
see a good skill set in, to bring it out. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? The canvas is just, in the paint is just a conduit, right? The
Hmm.
camera and the film is just a conduit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Hmm.
Your vocals are a conduit, right? Because you gotta,
That's right.
that song, you know what I mean? So it's like it starts there. That's where the creativity really starts.
Yeah.
And then she found it in AI. And her stuff, I think, is really good. And if you studied this, you realize that it's a hell of a lot more than you just saying, you know, make a beautiful woman. Okay, done. You know what I mean? It's a whole lot more than that.
Yeah, it's
You know?
prompting. Yeah.
Yeah, big time. But not the ones, but the ones that are really good, in my opinion, the
Hmm.
ones that are really good, really intriguing, are the ones that give you more than just what was prompted.
Hmm.
You know, I don't think that you could have done, I could be dead wrong. I don't think that you could have done a Sakura's Promise without your film background.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think that you could have done a few seconds of Peace Is All We Need without your your film background, without your art while growing up, without that desire you said that you have in you to just, God, I gotta be creating something at some point, at any time, at every time, you know. Um, so that just goes. It's like, for those who very much have a an experienced, tenured skill set,
Hmm.
you can kind of, I don't know, you can almost kind of tell the difference. Like, nah, this person, this, like, AI is new to me. This is true, but I've
Hmm.
been a creative my whole life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This is just another tool I'm using.
100%.
You know, so, and I think that when you're looking at that type of work in that type of medium, at least for me, maybe that's not everybody, but I can kind of see, like, nah, this person, they've got some long experience in doing something, or they've been educated in something, or you're not just putting that together, you
Hmm.
know, just by type,
Yeah, it's a lot of
motion
editing
sense.
behind the scenes too. I got a pretty strong Photoshop, you know, skill set too. So I just incorporate those things too. Because in the
See what
beginning
I'm saying?
stages, AI was hard in the beginning because they used to give us like 8 fingers. You know, yeah, take those fingers out, man. You know,
Yeah,
you know what
yes,
I'm
it was.
saying? Yeah, but
Yeah,
now it's on a whole different level. But it's not intimidating to me, like it is to some people because um I feel like, okay, yeah, we all have those tools now. We all got the crayons, the same crayons, but who can color the best or who has a better,
hmm,
way of doing it? Because it's coming down to, people trying to take the whole skill level. They just want to make an easy bake oven type,
right,
theme. But sometimes, art really, it takes, if you really want to give it, you gotta really cook it up. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
You gotta be into your art. You can't just play around like that. So it's just one
yeah.
of those things. So I'm
It,
doing I'm
it
doing I'm doing my best to try to, like, keep doing that, inspire the youth, because that's the future.
It sure enough is, man. And you're doing a great job, good brother. Like, you're doing a great job. And the other one that stood out was the one that, you had it started off with Martin Luther King and Malcolm,
Yeah, so
and then it went to,
those two are kind of like the same. So it's like the Give 'em Flowers was the
yeah,
one with Martin, Give 'em Flowers Part Two was the one we saw Marvin Gaye.
hmm,
I just didn't put a title to it because I like to do pieces and things like that. Because sometimes I might forget something, and then
mm.
I want to add something to somebody, or whatever.
It's just really great, man. And I it's definitely the way of the future. You
Yeah.
know, I I want to I want to really get spend more time in getting better at uh the actual art of it. You
Mhm.
know, right now I've just been so focused on the storytelling aspect of it.
It starts there though.
You know, it's true, you know, and I just been loving that. I just been loving really just getting my story out visually,
Mhm. Yeah.
you know. But I, you know, I see my stuff and then I, you know, I see and I'm getting better, but I see like when I'm looking at your stuff, I'm like, dang, I'm like, oh my goodness.
Nah, stop.
Like, yo,
That's funny.
I got a
Nah, man.
long way to
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Man, no, for real. I'm not.
Nah,
I ain't gonna front because
nah,
you know.
man.
Because once again,
Mm,
you're not just you understand the tool, but you also are incorporating, like you said, your your Photoshop game. You know what I mean, and your editing game. Like you got some serious talent. So it's clearly it spills over into. Excuse me. It clearly spills over into the AI world. So
mm,
it really like humbles me. For example, I already told you I shouted out Kimberly Alford. I don't know how many times on this, and I'll continue to shout her out. I think she's great. Um, uh, and in my opinion, once again, you're not saying this. I'm saying this. I can see that your experience and your education uh, as a digital, a digital designer, and then your film editing, it just it makes like AI like the I mean, it's just no joke to you. You know what I mean? Like, you can do so much with it
yeah,
because of that background that you took time to learn and study and earn. And it just sets apart so many different things. I don't know. I look because once I started getting to AI, I follow a lot of AI artists, and some of their work is unbelievable. And this is what I was trying to explain to another brother I was speaking with. When you have fundamentals, in any type of art form,
mm,
it doesn't matter what just add water thing comes out.
yeah.
It doesn't matter how good you get with the just add water thing.
Mm,
It doesn't matter how advanced the just add water thing, as I'm titling it,
yeah, I get it.
gets. Your fundamentals are going to separate you, you know what I mean, from the masses when you start dealing in it. Because how can it not? This is stemming from traditional art, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, a video generator is only pulling from tools that some filmmaker put into it. You
Mm,
know what I mean? So it had to be educated that way.
right.
So if you already have those foundations, those fundamentals, when you touch it, and it's clearly evident, good brother. I was just so happy to want to speak with you because you easily became my favorite, visual artist
Oh man,
especially as it
that's
rocks out with this AI. And I'm gonna tell you
that's
a lot of that clearly is coming from my admiration and my desire to be good in it. you
mm.
know. But yeah, I knew there was more than you just studying it and using the tool. I knew it. I was just like, pump that. You ain't telling me you ain't getting me like that. You know what you're doing here. Like that's just I mean, I could try my best. I could put together. I
uh,
could I could put some serious detailed,
that's crazy.
conceptual prompt in there, and it ain't never coming out as a finished product like this. And that's
You
what's
know,
up. And
I also learned too, like it took me a long time. Um, it takes a team, man. Especially when you're
yeah,
trying to evolve. Uh, I was blessed enough to be associated with not a lot, maybe with 3 people that
Hmm.
really take this stuff to the next level too. And we feed off each other and we trying to I feel like you can go farther together, you know what I'm
Always, good brother.
saying? Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to do, especially now, when with while the light is still hot, I wanna get with a lot of people that do this and try to build something that's gonna be, you know, legendary.
Yeah.
Uh I've been working on collaborations a lot lately with other AI artists. Shout out to Natty Dread.
Natty
Um
Dread. Natty Dread. Come on. Come on. Answer the DM, Natty Dread. Come on. I need you on the show, Natty Dread.
Yeah,
Answer the
yes,
DM.
that's the homie too. I really locked in with a lot of people. I just feel that sometimes, actions speak a lot more than words.
Yeah.
I'm
All
not I'm
day.
not big I'm not big on speaking or talking about what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna do it, and then we'll talk about it later, like we're doing
We
right
talk
now.
about it later. Right.
You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
it's just a beautiful time. I feel like even when you was talking about how people should talk about AI and what's not art, that's the same thing they used to say about photographers and paintings and
Yeah.
sculptors and it's an evolution of it. I think a lot of
Thank you,
people,
good brother.
yeah, a lot of people don't really want to jump to anything new. They want to stay with that. So you're gonna stay where you're at. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? I
Yep.
had the I think I had the foresight to know that okay, this is bigger than me at this point. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I gotta figure out. It's like I think people get their A's mixed up, You don't
Hmm.
have to you don't have to accept everything that you see, but you gotta be aware at least. You
At
know what I'm
least.
saying? At
Yeah.
least be aware of what's
At
going
least
on.
be aware. You ain't even gotta like it, but at
You ain't
least be
gotta like
aware that it's
it.
happening.
Just know it's happening. People
Yeah.
get, everybody's scared about, Terminator, hey, whatever happens is gonna happen.
Right. Right. What you can't
What
stop it
what
with
can
yourself.
you
Yeah.
really do at this point? And they're like, oh, you feeding the beast and all these things like that. But I think we've been feeding the beast since, I ain't want to get into it, but when the
You're
internet
right.
hit,
You're right.
when it,
You're right.
we've been feeding it for a while now.
We've been feeding
So
for a minute. We are the reason why AI is here. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, what we talking? It's just look.
let's just be real,
Yeah.
but whatever, man.
Yeah,
I'm
that's what's
having
up,
I'm
bro.
having fun, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Man, and you know what? I can tell you are because your work is good. Your work is great, good brother. Yeah, it really
yo,
is.
thank you, man.
It
Thank you.
it it has most certainly, inspired me, and I was already inspired. You know what I mean? But
Inspire or
that's what's up.
retire. That's my
There you
that's my
go.
uh that's
And
my
I'm too
my
young to
phrase.
retire. And I'm too young
100%.
to retire.
You feel me?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I wanna take this. I'm gonna go into the segment now where I ask the generic questions
Okay.
that I ask all the creatives, just about 5 of them. First one
Okay.
is: do you consider yourself a creative?
A creator?
A creative? Do you consider yourself a creative?
Yeah, I do. I feel like you had the ability to make something or shape anything from your mind to your hands or whatever. You can create, even vocally, you can create
Yep.
music. You know what I'm saying? It's just how you look at it.
Hmm. The next question is: what's the most frustrating thing about being a creative, in particular, a visual artist?
Um, I have to say it's the outside noise, not even from other people, but within. I think a
Mm,
lot of times we have self-doubt on ourselves and we kind of like second guess the things that we're doing because you're so wrapped up in your surroundings. You gotta do the real work, and that's within first, and then everything else gonna shine out. Work on yourself.
mm. Okay, I like that answer. How does criticism, good or bad, affect your creativity?
it don't really affect it too much, but it gives me that launch pad that I need. Because one, if you're talking about it, I'm doing something.
Hmm.
Um, but I also realize that people are fickle and that
Yes, they are.
they could be cool with something now and then they'll switch up the next, and that's just how life is.
That's
You
just how
know,
life is.
you know, and if you don't have that tough skin when you're creating, because anytime you put something out, you become vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
you put your art out there, and people will either rip it up or they're gonna
or love it.
praise you.
Yeah,
Yeah, regardless of the fact, you putting yourself out there, you gotta have that tough skin to just keep pressing through and just like I said, remember why you first did it or why you first
hmm.
started, and that'll help you, maneuver through stuff like that.
I never through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent answer. I like that. You may have already answered this, but I'm gonna ask anyway. Who is the creative that inspires you the most, and why?
Let me see. Man, it's just really hard to give somebody that much because everybody plays
Yeah,
a
you
part
pulling
into,
from.
and yeah, my
Yeah.
journey. Um,
Well, okay,
if
and that's then I often get that response. So then I switch it up by saying, all right, well, who's popping in your head when I ask that question?
I would have to say my grandmother, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Um, I was raised by my grandmother, and she like the biggest tomboy. But she was one of those people that she showed unconditional love, and she also showed that firm the grip too. And it showed me both sides of unconditional love and also strapping down and being a real person.
Mm,
And I think she helped me become real, and she prepared me for the world, and she prepared me for the journey, whether it was her introducing me to my spiritual side or also just trying to tell me to just stay confident and be strong, just like my art teacher. They were kind of like friends in a way,
hmm.
but I saw my grandma the most, so I'm gonna give her that, the grandma.
That's what's up. That's what's
Shout
up.
out to
Okay.
shout out to Beatrice Sims.
Shout out. That's what's up. I like that. Um, as a creative, if you had time,
Mhm.
what art form would you like to get into and become really good at and put a real focus on if you had the time?
Right. It's between traditional painting and sculpting. I used to get so intrigued on how Michelangelo and Leonardo and those guys made those sculptures, and also the paintings that they had in those chapels and things, and the
Mm-hmm.
detail it took and the time it took.
Time it
And
took, yeah.
I was just like, wow, one slight mistake and like months of work could be destroyed. And I just like, I really want to have that patience because we're living in a time of the the short attention spans.
Big,
You know what I'm
ooh,
saying?
ooh, boy,
You know what I'm saying? It's like
man.
even with the art that I do, I have to get you in 3 seconds to even get a view. You know what I'm saying? So if I don't get you in 3 seconds, then you're scrolling up.
Yep.
But to actually sit there and look at something that somebody done and they put their life into it, I think it's a miraculous thing. But given the time that we're living in, I can't see it happening right now.
Yeah. Mm. Um, how does being a black creative affect your work, or does being a black creative affect your work and the promotion of it?
Um, I think it kind of was a big lane open for me because I didn't see too many black AI artists at the time. You know,
Hmm.
It was just a handful that because you were saying names and I knew them. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it was really small, but ever since everything hit Chat GPT now, all of a sudden I see these fly by night artists and things pop up out the blue.
Yeah.
And but to answer your question, I think it actually gave me more confidence because, you know, I feel like I have the culture and my people on my back. So anytime that I put something out, I'm representing us. So
Mm,
if I put something out, it gotta be good, you know, because the people let you know, of course.
yeah.
But me, you know, inside, I really want to have that. I want to have some good stuff that, you know, that people can relate to and they can be inspired to do. So I think it's actually a blessing to be black.
Man, go ahead. Say that again. Say that again, please, for the black and brown creatives out there. Say that one more time, good brother.
It's a blessing to be black, man. For
Yes,
sure.
sir.
100%.
um, and the last question for this segment is, uh, what are you the most thankful for as it relates to your creative journey?
My family, man. Um,
Love it.
without my family and being like family oriented, I don't think I could make it in this life, you know. I know the higher power, God, but for the physical aspect of it, my family is everything. When I'm having the hardest day, my children, you know, they invoke that, keep going, Dad. We love you, Dad, you know, and that's real love. You know,
Yeah.
you can be living in this world, you can be with somebody just they're just staying close to you just because who you are, or they
Yeah.
just have a motive. But these
Mm,
children, it's real.
yeah. There's no doubt about that, man.
You know what I'm saying?
That's straight up raw. You know,
I
I mean,
I never experienced that type of love before in my life. And to get that type of love, it just it gave me everything I needed to take this world on. Every time I step outside this house and I come back, you know, I just love my family and my wife. I love my wife. She's
man.
a big supporter of everything I was doing. She understood it. You know, at first she didn't understand it, but
Hmm.
you know, she really was, you know, she's everything, you know.
Man, you just preaching to the choir right there, good brother. I agree with everything you said, man. It's just everything. That's yes, that is the perfect answer. Like you said, you know, there's there's God, and then for the physical, there's who he loaned to us, right? You
100%.
know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, my wife and my kids, it's like what else? What else is
Kind of get that lump in my throat when you know you think
Yeah,
about it. You know what I'm saying?
exactly, exactly, man. It's deep. It's
Yeah,
deep.
yeah.
The last segment, which I call "Take It to the Gut," GUT, which
Hmm.
stands for Giving Up the Tangibles, resources to help creatives who are just starting out, and they want to get where you are. So, taking it from a visual artist perspective, what should creatives as visual artists do to get better?
Study,
Mm,
study your craft, study all the new things that's coming out. You know, like I said, don't jump on everything. Just do research. You know, there's somebody putting a video out there. You know, when I first
mm,
started out, I did YouTube University. You
mm-hmm.
know, I didn't know everything. You know, I mean, how could I? You know,
Right.
I had to learn. I had to learn. You know, you had to if you want to take it serious. You know, study. You know, be be around people that's smarter than you. You know,
Nice.
build your team, get you. You know, and just build brick by brick.
Mm, okay. What should they do to best promote their work?
Any social media, I feel like will help you because that's a way to scale everything that you're doing,
Yeah.
and it's light years ahead of how it used to be. You know, you could post something and it hit 1 million people. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you never know, but just put something out. Sometimes you may not get a like, you may not get a comment, you may not get anything, but you'll never know until you try. And I know that's cliche to say, but
But
you know,
it
yeah,
stands the test of time. So
yeah, you'll miss
yeah.
100% of the shots that you don't take.
There
So
you go.
yeah.
There you go. Um, and how do they get started as visual artists? How would you how would they get started?
Um, I would do the basic stuff like Photoshop, learn Photoshop, and also let me see, Photoshop, learn Photoshop. Midjourney, if you're trying to do the AI stuff, you can start
Hmm.
there. That's one of the best image creators that I started off with. You can use ChatGPT now. That's a good source to learn things, and also it can help you out with your prompting as well.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Uh, good brother JSLAY,
Let's go.
man. It's so interesting.
Yeah,
We've been speaking for a little bit over an hour now,
for sure.
and when I started, the show, I said, this brother's introduction is short, simple, and to the point. And so was this interview. I mean, it was just short, simple, and to the point. But I love it. I mean, it's just like sometimes I think it's not to take away from the interviews that are longer, but it's it says a lot when you are just as impactful, if not more, with less said.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know.
you can over talk yourself, and then you can end up saying the same stuff over and over. Not saying that's what I was doing, but I mean, I don't know. I'm just I guess in tune. I know what I want to say. I know what I want to do, and I know how I want to put it out, and that's it. Ain't no.
And that's it. You did it. You did it just again in that statement right there. You did it. Oh man, that's what's up, good brother. Look,
Yeah,
like I said, uh, I very much enjoy your work. I love it. I so far, and I have those that I very much like what they do. We've already mentioned their names. I was so impressed with Kimberly. I paid for her workshop, but which
oh,
is great, by the way. But I will say you are the one so far who has intrigued me and inspired me the most. I I understand I understand why you create as you explained it, because it definitely moves me. It definitely moves me, and I'm a fan. I'm looking and following for the next thing you do, for real. And I'm going to most certainly, try to stay in touch with you, good brother.
yeah. Hit me up.
Because
You got the lines and shit.
yeah, man, yeah, because no, I'm straight up. Like I'm really like I'm gonna, I'm not gonna hound you, but I definitely want to pick your brain,
I got
you
you.
know,
Yeah. Not a
because
gatekeeper.
you, what I mean. It's like because I know I have my stories, and I just want to get better at visually getting them out, and you definitely have owned that. I don't know. I think we need to come up with another title. Visual artist is too. It doesn't give you enough credit, good brother. You are truly, truly, without a doubt, a creative, and I want to thank you very much for taking out your time, to be on the Lost Creative podcast and speaking with us. You know what I'm saying? Because your creative journey, like your art, it definitely needed to be shared, good brother. So thank you very much, man.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate that. I've been trying to get out. I'm like one of those I guess you know, private people, but I
Yeah,
do I do it. I do a thing for my people, that.
that's what's up, man. Well, I'm glad that you do, and so far I have no reason to believe that you won't, man. So thank you, good brother JSLAY. Thank everybody for listening and tuning in. Oh, I'm jumping the gun.
Uh-oh.
Please take this time right now to provide everyone listening and watching. Take this time right now to give us your social media handles, any websites or emails that you want to have for those people to, collaborate with you, follow you, work with you, whatever, please take the time to give us that now.
You can find me on all handles at JSLAY Art on Instagram, TikTok, on Facebook. They all the same.
Okay, cool. Cool. Any websites or emails, or that's pretty much,
I got
that's good.
JSlayer on .com.
Jay, say that again.
JSlayer .com. That's my website.
JSlayer.com.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. All right. All right. Thank you for that, good brother. And once again, thank you, everybody, always for tuning in and listening in, be it watching on YouTube and down and subscribing on that, or Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or all the other podcasting channels. Please continue to tune in, listen, and subscribe and share. I will always continue to look for great creatives, black and brown creatives, to be on the show and continue to tell their creative journeys, because everyone's journey is always uniquely magnificent. And we're just going to try to continue to provide it to you here on the L.O.S.T Creative Podcast. So once again, thank you everybody for tuning in. Excuse me. Know that you are creative, and tell me your story.